The central problem with achieving any big goal is that you keep waiting for the feeling of motivation to return. Stop waiting. It's never going to be consistent.
So you know that feeling you're always chasing? That big rush of inspiration? It feels incredible, right? It's the spark that gets you to buy the gym membership or sign up for that new course. But let's just be brutally honest for a second. It has almost nothing to do with long-term success. Think of motivation like a fair-weather friend. It's totally there for you when things are new and exciting, but it's the first one to ghost you the second the work gets hard or, just boring. Discipline, on the other hand, that's your all-weather partner. It's a skill you can actually build, a system that shows up every single day, especially on the days you don't feel like it. It's not a feeling, it's an architecture. And in this explainer, we're not just going to talk about the difference. We're going to hand you the actual blueprint for building a success machine that runs whether you feel like it or not. Okay, so here's the game plan. We're going to go on a 6-part journey here. First, we have to expose the big lie, the motivation trap. We got to know the enemy. Then we'll dive into the science of quitting, because I promise you, your inconsistency is not a moral failing. It is a biological fact. From there, we'll switch gears and start building the discipline system, the actual framework. After that, we'll look under the hood at the brain on autopilot to see the neuroscience that makes this whole thing tick. Then it gets really practical with your 3-step blueprint, the exact things you can do today. And we'll wrap it all up by looking at the ultimate choice you face every single day. Let's get into it. So let's just get right to the core of the problem. Why is betting on how you feel such a fundamentally terrible strategy? I mean, think about it. Imagine you're building a skyscraper. Would you hire a construction crew that only shows up on sunny days when they're feeling it? No way. You'd have a schedule, a system, a blueprint. But for our own most important goals, we do the emotional equivalent of that all the time. We're trying to power this sophisticated machine, our ambition, with the most unpredictable fuel source on the planet, our feelings.
Okay, look at this. This right here really lays out the two opposing forces. On one side, you've got motivation. What is it? It's a feeling. It's a chemical rush, a little dopamine spike that's tied to something new. It's emotional, which by definition means it's volatile and completely unreliable. It might light the fire, but it has no ability to keep it burning. But then you look at discipline. It's a skill. This is something you build, not something you have. It's structural. It's stable. It is reliable. It's not the spark, it's the engine block. It's the entire system you designed to get you where you want to go, and it works on your best days, and more importantly, it carries you through your worst.
You know that gut-wrenching frustration when you start something new? You're full of energy, and then a week, maybe a month later, you just fall off? I really want you to hear this. That is not a character flaw. You are not lazy. It's biology. Your brain is actually working exactly the way it was designed to. You're just using the wrong instruction manual. There are two big scientific reasons, two biological traps that pretty much guarantee that relying on motivation will fail you. Let's unpack them so you can stop blaming yourself and start building a better system.
Okay, first up, there's this really powerful thing called hedonic adaptation, and you've felt this a million times. It's our brain's amazing, and sometimes really annoying, ability to just get used to stuff. It's why the absolute thrill of a new phone or a new car eventually just fades and becomes normal. Well, the exact same thing happens with your goals. Think about that first day you decided to learn Spanish. The excitement is through the roof. That novelty is a huge driver of motivation. But what about day 30, when you're just staring at the same boring verb charts? The novelty's gone. The new has become normal. And because your motivation was tied to that novelty, it just vanishes right along with it. Hedonic adaptation basically guarantees that motivation has an expiration date. And the second biological trap? This is a total game changer. It's called willpower depletion. I want you to stop thinking of willpower as some kind of fixed personality trait. It's not. From now on, think of it like the battery on your phone. Every single decision you make all day, what to wear, what to eat, how to word that tricky email, it drains that battery a little bit. Resisting a donut, sitting through a boring meeting, dealing with traffic, all of those are withdrawals from your willpower account. So by the time you get to the end of the day, when you're supposed to go to the gym or work on your big goal, your battery is often in the red. Trying to rely on motivation at that point is like trying to make a call with 1% battery. It's just not gonna happen. And this chart just drives the point home perfectly. You wake up in the morning, hopefully you got some good sleep, and boom, you've got a full charge, 100% willpower. But then life happens. You decide on breakfast. You deal with 100 emails, each one a little micro decision. You navigate office politics, you fight distractions, and as the day wears on, that mental energy just plummets. By the evening, after making hundreds of little choices, you're running on fumes, maybe 15%. And that's when you expect yourself to make the hard, long-term choice to work out? No way. Trying to feel motivated when your battery is that low is a battle you're biologically set up to lose almost every time.
So this all leads us to the single most important insight of this whole explainer. We have to completely reframe the problem. The enemy is not that you have low motivation. The enemy is not a lack of willpower. The enemy, the real villain in this story, is the decision itself. It's relying on making a good choice in the moment, at the exact time when your biological resources to make that choice are at their absolute lowest. So the solution isn't to find more motivation. That's a myth. The solution is to build a smarter system, an architecture that removes the need to make that choice in the first place.
And that brings us to the solution, the discipline system. This is where we stop being victims of our feelings and start becoming architects of our own progress. We're done hoping for a good day. We're going to start building a structure. And I'm going to walk you through the 3 foundational pillars, the load-bearing walls of this whole thing. Once you get these in place, progress stops being a game of chance and starts becoming nearly automatic.
Here they are, the 3 pillars. First, we're going to redefine discipline as structure. This is all about building a predictable system so you're not constantly testing your fragile willpower. Second, we're going to tap into the unbelievable power of the identity action loop. This is a psychological trick that can make the hardest habits feel like a natural part of who you are. And third, we're going to commit to automaticity. This is the holy grail, making your most important actions happen without thinking, without negotiating, and without draining that battery.
Let's start with the identity action loop, because honestly, this is where the real magic happens. Just look at this loop. It is so powerful. See, most people start with the action. They say, I need to get motivated to write. This frames writing as this horrible chore, but the identity-based approach completely flips that around. You start with the identity, I am a writer. Then you just ask a simple question. Well, what does a writer do? Writers write. Suddenly, the action of writing isn't a chore you have to force. It's just the logical expression of who you are. And here's the best part. Every single time you do it, even for just 5 minutes, you cast a vote for that identity. You're giving your brain proof. This reinforces the identity, which makes the next action even easier. It's a beautiful, positive feedback loop.
Okay, now for automaticity. The goal here is simple and it is ruthless. We have to eliminate choice because we already know that choice is the enemy of willpower. There are 2 killer tactics for this. First, habit stacking. You just anchor your new habit to one you already do without thinking. Like, after I pour my morning coffee, I will meditate for 1 minute. See? Pouring coffee is the trigger. You don't have to decide when to meditate. The coffee decides for you. The second tactic is time blocking. You treat your goal like a meeting with your CEO. You put it in the calendar as a non-negotiable appointment. It's not about if you'll work on your project. It's that Tuesday from 7 to 8 p.m. is project time. The debate is over. The choice has been removed.
So, we have the what, we have the structure of our system. Now let's talk about the why. Let's go behind the curtain and look at the actual brain science that makes this whole architecture so insanely effective. Because once you understand why it works on a neurological level, you'll stop fighting it. You'll finally be able to trust the system more than you trust your own fleeting emotions. It really all boils down to this one simple, powerful truth. A system of discipline works because it is designed to protect your most precious and limited cognitive resource, your willpower. This isn't about being tough, it's about being smart. And this idea connects right back to that battery we talked about, a concept sometimes called ego depletion. Like we said, every choice, every act of self-control drains that mental energy bank. So a discipline system, at its core, is really just a brilliant willpower conservation strategy. Think of it this way. Instead of spending all your precious energy deciding whether or not to go to the gym, you save that energy for the actual workout. By automating your most important decisions, you stop that needless energy drain. You show up to the real work with a full tank of gas. And this slide shows you exactly what's happening inside your head. It's amazing. On the left, that's your brain on motivation. When you rely on feelings and choices, you're using your prefrontal cortex. This is like the CEO of your brain. It does all the hard thinking and decision-making. It's powerful, but man, it is an energy hog. It just burns through your willpower. But on the right, that's your brain on discipline. A good system offloads that work to a different area, the basal ganglia. This is your brain's habit center. It's the factory floor. It just runs the program it's been given. And the key thing, it uses very little energy. So you are literally shifting control from the high-cost CEO to the low-cost, super-efficient factory floor. You're just being smarter with your brain's resources.
All right, enough theory, enough science. We get it. Now, let's get ruthlessly practical. It's time to actually build this thing. I'm going to give you a simple, 3-step, non-negotiable blueprint that you can use to start building your discipline system the second this explainer is over. This is where the rubber meets the road.
Here are your marching orders. 3 simple, powerful steps. First, we shift the self-image by changing the question you ask yourself, because identity drives everything. Second, we design the automatic system using a rule that makes it so ridiculously easy to start, you can't say no. And third, we track consistency, not intensity. This is about focusing on just showing up, not on being perfect. Let's break them down.
This is step 1, and this little mental shift changes absolutely everything. Starting today, I want you to banish one question from your mind. Do I feel motivated? That question is a trap. It gives your unreliable emotions veto power over your future. Instead, you're going to ask a much better, much more powerful question. What would a disciplined person do right now? This reframe is incredible. It does 2 things. 1, it rips your feelings out of the equation, and 2, it forces you to think from your ideal identity. The answer is almost always dead simple. A disciplined person would do the work. So you do the work. It's that easy.
Now, for your tactical tools. To design your system, you're going to use the 2-minute rule. This says that any new habit you start has to take less than 2 minutes to do. Why? Because the hardest part is always just starting. So we make starting absurdly easy. Read every day becomes read 1 page. Go to the gym for an hour becomes put on your workout clothes. You're not optimizing for the result yet, you're just optimizing for the act of starting. Then, to track your progress, you're going to live by the never miss twice rule. Look, you're human. You're going to miss a day. That's fine. 1 missed day is an accident, but 2 missed days in a row, that's not an accident. That is the start of a new, bad habit. So the rule is ironclad. You can miss once, but you never miss twice.
You know, when you boil everything we've talked about down to its absolute core, this is the choice you're making dozens of times every single day. It's a battle between what you want now versus what you want most. The now is instant gratification. It's comfort, it's easy, it's the couch, it's the junk food. Motivation, when it shows up, loves to put you toward the now. But on the other side, there's what you want most. That's your future, your health, your goals, your pride in yourself. Discipline is simply the system you build that quietly and consistently helps you choose what you want most over what you just want right now.
And this is probably the best way to think about it. Motivation is a fun passenger, but discipline is the pilot. Hey, it is great when motivation is along for the ride. It makes the trip more fun, more exciting. But you would never let your fun passenger fly the plane. The pilot is discipline. The pilot is the one who did the pre-flight check, who filed the flight plan, who has their hands on the controls. The pilot is the one who's going to fly you through the clear skies and through the turbulent storms, and make sure you get to your destination no matter what the emotional weather is like outside.
So let's bring this all in for a landing. We've seen that discipline solves the huge problem of emotional inconsistency. And the reason that matters so much is that it gives you the one thing motivation never ever can: predictable, automatic progress. And that's the only real path to mastery. By shifting your identity and building a system of automaticity, you create this incredible framework that conserves your willpower and stabilizes your progress, protecting you from the inevitable highs and lows of just being human. Remember, productivity isn't about doing more or white-knuckling your way through the day. It's about mastering systems that make focus effortless. So the final question is for you, and the choice is right now. Will you keep waiting for a feeling, or will you pick up your tools and start building your future?